Radha Madhav Jayo Radha Madhav Jayo Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jayo Nrsingadev 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 Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Panchatattva 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 Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhavasya Sakhi Vrinda Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai Shri Shri Nrsingadev Bhagavan Anantadev Prahlad Maharaj Ki Shri Shri Panchatattva Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukha Karoti Vachalam Pangoram Gayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradhaine Gaurakata Damadaya Nagara Grama Tarine Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Text 13, Chapter 13, Text number 50. Niṣpāditaṁ deva-kṛtyam avaśeṣaṁ pratīkṣate tāvad yūyam avekṣadhvam bhaved yāvad iheśvaraḥ niṣpāditaṁ deva-kṛtyam avaśeṣaṁ pratīkṣate tāvad yūyam avekṣadhvam bhaved yāvad iheśvaraḥ niṣpāditaṁ deva-kṛtyam avaśeṣaṁ pratīkṣate tāvad yūyam avekṣadhvam bhaved yāvad iheśvaraḥ. Word by word translation. Niṣpāditaṁ, performed. Deva-kṛtyam, what was to be done on behalf of the demigods. Avaśeṣaṁ, the rest. Pratīkṣate, being awaited. Tāvat, up to that time. Yūyam, all of you Pāṇḍavas. Avekṣadhvam, observe and wait. Bhavet, may. Yāvat, as long as. Iha, in this world. Īśvaraḥ, the Supreme Lord. Translation. The Lord has already performed his duties to help the demigods, and he is awaiting the rest. You, Pāṇḍavas, may wait as long as the Lord is here on earth. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord descends from his abode, Krishna Loka, the topmost planet in the spiritual sky, in order to help the demigods, administrators of this material world, when they are greatly vexed by the asuras, who are envious not only of the Lord, but also of his devotees. As referred to above, the conditioned living beings contact material association by their own choice, dictated by a strong desire to lord it over the resources of material world and become imitation lords of all they survey. Everyone is trying to become an imitation god. There is keen competition among such imitation gods, and such competitors are generally known as asuras. When there are too many asuras in the world, then it becomes a hell for those who are devotees of the Lord. Due to the growth of the asuras, the mass of people who are generally devoted to the Lord by nature and the pure devotees of the Lord, including the demigods and higher planets, pray to the Lord for relief. And the Lord either descends personally from his abode or deputes some of his devotees to remodel the fallen condition of human society or even animal society. Such disruptions take place not only in human society, but also among animals, birds, or other living beings, including the demigods and the higher planets. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa descended personally to vanquish asuras like Kamsa, Jarāsandha and Śiśupāla. And during the reign of Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, almost all these asuras were killed by the Lord. Now he was awaiting the annihilation of his own dynasty, called the Yadu-vaṁśa, who appeared by his will in this world. He wanted to take them away before his own departure to his eternal abode. Narada, like Vidura, did not disclose the imminent annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, but indirectly gave a hint to the king and his brothers to wait till the incident happened, and the Lord departed. Hare Krishna, good morning. Wow, we are in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a historical significance to this verse, And there's also very personal, intimate significance. And you see this word, avekṣadhvam, wait and watch. This is what Narada is telling the Pāṇḍavas. There are 3 important principles I want to be sharing today in the class. The first principle is learning from the Pāṇḍavas how to put Krishna in the center. Because we often hear this expression, put Krishna in the center, put Krishna in the center. So what is this? Some say, Dir Haritoshanam. So whatever we do should be pleasing to Lord Hari. So we'll see from the Pāṇḍavas' perspective how to take ourselves out of the way so we can let the Lord's plans manifest. And second thing we will see is Pāṇḍavas went through a lot of difficulties. I mean, if we are complaining about the pandemic now, right? We hear this question often. Prabhu was asking the other day about how do we accept the fact that devotees are suffering from this pandemic, right? How do we make peace with this? So we will study a little bit about the internal and external challenges and difficulties and how those situations actually help us to get closer to Krishna. How we can build intimacy with Krishna through this. Because through whether the pandemic, through our jobs, through our relationship, notpadayed yadiratim shramaevahi kevalam. So whatever circumstances, whatever activities we are engaged in, if it does not produce a connection with Krishna, taste for Krishna, everything is wasted. So even pandemic is actually a blessing of the Lord. It's just we have to develop the taste to become attached to the Lord. And the third principle is, you see, the core of this verse and this section, Sura and Asura, the demons and the demigods. So let's look at the demons and the demigods from the perspective of the demons and demigods inside. There's an expression like good dog and the bad dog, both are inside us, inside screaming in my head. So we'll discuss a little bit about how Sura means the higher self and Asura is the lower self, and how Krishna is actually in control of both. And meditating upon that significance of this section and the history behind, we kind of try to interweave these points. And I want to share Srila Madhvacharya. You know, I was studying a little bit Mahabharata to understand the background history. Madhvacharya wrote something called Tatparya Nirnaya. So Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya is like a precious way of analyzing the story of Pāṇḍavas in the light of Vaishnavacharyas who give us the reasons why. You see, like why did Krishna help the Pāṇḍavas win? Was he partial? Why did Krishna push down the chariot to save Arjuna's head? Why did Krishna help Bhima? So there were a lot of intricate morality and Vaishnava Siddhanta with these principles of putting Krishna in the center, of aligning to Krishna's will. And we can see in the history how Pāṇḍavas, they had a very strong character, right? Strong character, strong personalities. This feeling of Madhvacharya, you know, he had the Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya, and then he also expressed his love for Krishna with the whole Srimad Bhagavatam and how the whole Sarga, Visarga, Poshanam, Sthanam, Mutaya, everything he expressed in the form of Krishna, Prinayamo Vasudevam. Krishna, I'm yours. Krishna, I love you. So I will be quoting the specific bhajan from Madhvacharya, the Sanskrit verses, describing very beautifully this section of Krishna's mercy. Why is Narad Muni telling the Pāṇḍavas, wait and watch? And why is he telling him, until Krishna departs? So there's a lot of interesting background story to that. And so let's kind of get into that. So I would like you to first meditate on this beautiful heart of the Lord, the way the Lord interacts. He comes with an internal purpose and he comes with an external purpose. And no matter how big his purpose is in coming in any of his plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions, whenever he comes, he cares about every single life, even my insignificant life. So that's the mercy of the Lord. So Madhvacharya says in this first, we are now going into this point of putting Krishna in the center. Vandita sheshayo vandavrindarakam chandana charchito dharapinam sakam indira chanchala nirajani indira chanchala pangdani rajitam mandarodhari vriddhodbhujo bhoginam prinayamo vasudevam devata mandala khanda mandanam prinayamo vasudevam. Dear Vasudeva, dear Krishna, I offer myself to you. Dear Krishna, dear Vasudeva, I love you. And that Vasudeva, whose artik is performed every day by the sidelong glances of the goddess of fortune. And that Krishna, who with his strong and elegant and gorgeous arms very easily handled the Mandara mountain, and it was just a massage for him. His body is always decorated with sandalwood paste, and he is always residing in the happy realms. To that Krishna who always fulfills the purposes of the gods. So the fulfillment of the purpose of gods, which Narad Muni is mentioning here, is also brought up here. How his incomparable ways of performing one action and fulfilling many goals. Those arms, which lifted Giri Govardhan, those arms which hold the Mandara mountain. Let's enter into this battlefield of Kurukshetra. The same arms are holding the chariot of Arjuna. As Parthasarathi, Krishna is driving the chariot. So that's the Supreme Lord we're talking about. And he shows the battlefield to Arjuna. Bhishmadrona pramukatah sarveshaṁ mahīkshitam uvacha partha pasyaitan samavetan kuruniti. So Krishna is like displaying, look at Bhishma, look at Drona, look at all these great warriors, Arjuna. Krishna is, literally in the center, right? For Arjuna, like physically right there, right? And he's showing, similarly, in our lives, these are our obstacles. These are your anarthas. This is your battlefield, right? Are we giving our reins to Krishna? Are we going under the Govardhan hill? Krishna definitely has the hill up for us. Are we going to be tormented by the difficulties of this world, the external difficulties, or are we going to go under the shelter of the Govardhan hill? This is a question to ask myself. Am I going to be bogged down by the difficulties and challenges of my own mind, the adhyatmika, adhibhautika, adhidaivika kleshas, all the difficulties created by external, internal, other people, the pandemic? Am I going to stay outside or am I going to go under that hill? So similarly, we all have to answer that question. And just as the war begins and Bhima starts, ferociously terrifying every member of the Kauravas, he says something. I want to bring this into picture to see how Bhima, he was the most terrifying warrior. The minute he put foot there, the earth started trembling. Everybody started running here and there. He says, see the amazing power of Sri Hari, the best amongst all. He who has known as the potent seed earlier has now become an impotent seed. He's addressing Duryodhana. He's being held by me. If there's any man amidst you, he can come here and get him released. So this is the scene when the blood is being shed from Dushasana's chest. Duryodhana is sitting there, roaring like a tiger, ripped open Dushasana's chest. Blood is overflowing everywhere. Nobody, not Karna, not Duryodhana, none of the Kauravas even have the guts to look at Bhima's eyes. Duryodhana ran away from the battlefield in this situation. We're talking about that Bhima Sena, that Vrikodara, that Mukhya Prana. And in this particular statement, what I want to bring up is, see, the Pāṇḍavas, no matter how powerful they were, right? And this Bhima Sena was roaring like a lion, dancing around the body of Dushasana. You know, he was remembering all the vows he had taken and the history behind those vows. And he was literally calling Duryodhana and the Kauravas, you see, he who was known as a potent seed earlier has now become impotent seed. These are all insults coming from the dice game when Duryodhana was insulting the Pandavas and mocking at them and calling them impotent. So Bhima is like bringing it back and giving it to them, right? And then there's all these statements, and as Bhima is like excited about fulfilling this vow, always the center has been Krishna. Because Bhima, when he was around his enemies and out of fear, even Karna, it's described in the Tatparya Nirnaya of Madhvacharya, how even Karna's bow slipped from his hand because they were terrified of seeing that Bhima. And Bhima, no matter how excited he was focused on Krishna. He kept saying repeatedly, see the amazing power of Sri Hari. It's because of Krishna I was able to do this feat in this battlefield today. And tomorrow, and he looks around, right? Those ferocious eyes. By the mercy of Sri Hari and for the pleasure of Sri Hari, I'm going to kill that Duryodhana. I'm going to rip open his thighs and I'm going to smash his heads. Okay, so then, and it's said that for one muhurta is about 1.5, 2 hours almost, one muhurta, the battlefield became empty at that time. Everybody ran away. There was only Krishna, Arjuna and Bhima there, and everybody just ran away. They couldn't face Bhima. So these impossible tasks that Bhima performed, he always gave credit to Krishna. So this is a big lesson for us. No matter what our service is, no matter what my skill might be, no matter what my talents might be, no matter what my goals are, to always keep Krishna in the center. Krishna, I offer myself to you. Krishna, please do with me as you will. Let me always align to your will. Let me always please you. And while this was going on, there was a lot of commotion amongst the demigods also. Because there was Duryodhana, who represents the Asuras. He's actually Kali's manifestation. And then we have Bhima, who is actually the manifestation of the Suras or the Devatas. So even the demigods started becoming interested in taking sides and helping them to win or not win. And Brahma comes down, Lord Shiva comes down, and all the conversations are happening. And finally Brahma says, you know what, we better stay out of the way. We better stay out of the way. So we're talking about these amazing, powerful personalities, and in their hearts, in their minds, it's Krishna. There are different expressions in different Vedic cultures, and even just humanity in general. There is Śrī Kṛṣṇam Sharanam Mama, right? Like there are certain Vaishnavas who constantly say this mantra. That's actually what they chant on their beads. Śrī Kṛṣṇam Sharanam Mama, Śrī Kṛṣṇam Sharanam Mama. And it's the way they greet Śrī Kṛṣṇam Sharanam Mama. So the whole consciousness is, I surrender to Krishna, I belong to Krishna. Prinayamo Vasudevam, as Madhvacharya is saying here. I belong to Krishna, I want to act according to Krishna's will. And Krishna, please do with me as you want. And then both Arjuna and Karna also started fighting, and then Indra got involved, and then Surya Dev got involved. So there was this whole thing happening. Similarly, we can also see how in our own performance of our duties, No dharma svanustita pumsha vishvakṣena katasuya notpadayed yadiratim shramaeva hi kevalam. We may be engaged in so many kinds of activities. We may be connecting with so many of our talents. We may be connecting with so many of our influences. But as long as we don't connect it to Krishna, as long as I don't utilize, whether it's a difficult circumstance or a good circumstance, to develop my connection with Krishna, shrama eva hi kevalam, is just a waste, a useless waste of time, useless waste if we don't develop attraction for Krishna. Now, in this Mahabharata story, especially, when the dice game was happening and Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was losing one after another, and he was putting at stake Bhima, he was putting at stake Arjuna, he was putting at stake his Nakula and Sahadev, he was putting at stake himself. So this whole atrocious thing was happening, and Duryodhana, look at Duryodhana's atrocity. Duryodhana asked Bhima, now put at stake Krishna. He wanted Krishna to be put at stake. And Bhima became very angry. And that's when he made the vow, I'm going to crush Duryodhana's head. And then there is this... so when Krishna was asked to be kept at stake, it's such a big sin. And reflecting upon our own lives, whenever I put anything else in place of Krishna, if I make a particular relationship my higher power, if I make wealth my higher power, if I make my pride and my prestige my higher power, it is like putting Krishna at stake. So this is again something very introspective. We need to look within and see, is Krishna my priority? Is Samsiddhir Haritoshanam my priority? Or is pleasing my own ego my priority? Do I want to please Krishna? Do I want to win the argument? And when Bhima was literally crushing the head of Duryodhana, he actually realized, Rishabham ma samanam shukta. He actually, when he killed Dushasana also, he came up with the shukta, prayers. And he was offering the blood and that body of Dushasana to Nrsimhadev. And he was going, oh, glories to Nrsimhadev, Bhagavan ki jai. And he was like ripping open the chest and offering. See, that's Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is like seeing Krishna before setting the goal, seeing Krishna within reaching the goal, and seeing Krishna when we attain the goal. And so, because Bhima had vowed to crush his sin, crush the head of Duryodhana, because he committed the sin of asking to put Krishna at stake. And then by doing that, he took away all the punya of Duryodhana. So the head is head is the most important part of our body. And even at the time of death, it is described how the life air leaves out the body in a specific place. So great sages, saints, they always leave their body through the, the randhra here. So that's considered to be they reach higher planetary systems. And there are descriptions of certain people who die with other parts of the body living their life, and it's not very auspicious. They don't go to a very good destination, basically. And in this way, Bhima made sure that the head of Duryodhana, who could have the guts and the atrocity to ask Krishna to be put at stake, has to be crushed. So similarly, that mentality I can imbibe in my life. Any desire, any thought, any plan that's going to come in between me and Krishna has to be crushed. It could be my lust. Usually the enemy is not the outside Duryodhana, is the inside Duryodhana. My own lust, my own anger, my own envy, my own hatred. It's what is blocking me from connecting with Krishna. When difficulties come in our life, Pāṇḍavas, Aragina maneyolagandu Pāṇḍavaranu kolabekendu Durula kaurava bandu ಅತಿ ಹರುಷದಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತಿರಲೆಂದು ಹರಿಕೃಪೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ಕಾರಣ ಹರಿಕೃಪೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ಕಾರಣ ಘೋರ ದುರಿತ ಬಯಲಾಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲವೇ. ದ ಘೋರ ದುರಿತ, the unimaginable difficulty is immediately resolved in Krishna's presence. And Narad Muni is stating that here. He is reiterating the fact, you wait and watch. He's not revealing, he's not coming like some cheap astrologer or something saying, this is going to happen, that is going to happen. No. Wait and watch to see Krishna's plan manifest in our lives too. When difficulties attack us, we don't know why it's there. We don't know how to face it. But all we do is understand, have faith, that intrinsic, unshakable faith. Ete chamsa kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyari Vyakulam Lokam Vridayanti Yuge Yuge. So Krishna definitely comes wherever there is disturbance, right? Wherever and whenever there is this disturbance. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Similar statement Krishna is assuring he will come again and again whenever there is adharma. Whether through his portions or plenary portions, he will expand and protect. Now, for us, Madhvacharya actually again connects the work of the demigods, work of the universe, the way the Lord performs, and the way he connects with the devotees. Unnata prarthita shesha samsadakam sannata laukikanandada shripadam binna karma shraya prani samprerakam tannakim neti vidvatstumi mamsitam prinayamo vasudevam devata mandala khandamandanam prinayamo vasudevam. Krishna fulfills the desires of the devotees even if we find ourselves in most uncomfortable circumstance. Krishna has in mind what we need, where we are going. And he, Unnata Lokika, Unnata Prarthita, the devotees who know how to pray. This is a very key point for us. When we are in difficulty, what should we pray? Right? How do we ask Krishna to rescue us? We usually, the Vaishnavacharyas, there are beautiful songs, and one of them he says, Nai kunnigalante parara pidisuta. I usually take shelter of this person, that person, of wealth, of power, of status, like a little dog and a puppy waiting outside the door. But Krishna, you are actually that Shesha Samsadakam. You are the one who gives all auspiciousness. You help to achieve the purpose of life for devotees like Dhruva, for devotees like Prahlad. And you know how auspicious it is to be, you know, meaning the Jiva, as we should know how auspicious and fortunate we are that we've been given this path of Krishna consciousness. And in this world, we are intrinsically alone. There's nobody else that actually comes to rescue us. In this song, Madhvacharya is seeing how the wise people, they know that in the difficulty is where the mercy is hidden. Like Kunti Devi, right? She prays also for difficulties to come again and again. Why? Because let's imagine a person born with all saintly qualities, very good birth, wonderful parents, everything is perfect. They have all perfect qualities and becomes a saint. They do meditation, they chant their Hare Krishna, they do their sadhana perfectly. They're able to wake up in the morning every day without fail. They're able to go attend all the programs, finish all their sadhana. The person is achieving perfection of life, liberation. But Srimad Bhagavatam does not give us such examples. Because the point is, the real growth, the real humility, the real transformation happens amidst the demons, amidst the difficulties, amidst the anarthas, right? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, we don't actually see stories of a saintly person born and everything is wonderful, they have no defects whatsoever, and how they perfectly perform their Krishna consciousness with no obstacle. We see the kings, we see the royal people going through one desire after another, one fight after another, waging wars. Here we are seeing Pāṇḍavas and Kauravas clashing. So we constantly read about great devotees. Vritrasura, okay, becomes a demon, but then the very same curse is what actually led him to become a pure devotee, that we glorify Vritrasura as the greatest devotee in Srimad Bhagavatam, and he is a demon. So that Srimad Bhagavatam is beyond dharma, artha, kama, moksha. It's beyond our understanding of curse and blessing. In Krishna consciousness, curse is as good as blessing. So whether it's Nalakuvara and Manigriva, or Vritrasura's body, or Bali Maharaj being tricked by Vamana Dev, all these things only actually lead us to take shelter of Krishna. So I was wondering, what is the significance of that in our lives? In our lives too, we may face challenges in our sadhana. We may not be able to attend Mangalarti every day, right? And then Krishna makes us humble. We look at ourselves and say, oh, I thought I could do it. So Krishna says, yeah, you thought you could do it. That's the problem. You are thinking, you, where am I in the picture? So, Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Is Krishna the center of our life? Are we looking at what Krishna wants me to do? Or do I have my own list of, I need to accomplish this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and then I'll feel good, and I'll feel good that I'm a good devotee. So it becomes about me, right? But instead, there's this happens during the war. It's a very, very interesting story that happens. Krishna and Arjuna arrive at the camp of Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj. And Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj assumes that Arjuna has already killed Karna. So as soon as he comes in, and then he gets to know that actually Karna has not been killed. And then there's a lot of unpleasant exchanges that happens, and Arjuna basically says, I am going to kill him, and he pulls out his weapons and he gets ready, and Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj said, okay, it's enough, stop it. You're just a useless son, you're just even namesake of Pāṇḍava, you're just useless birth to Kunti Devi. He just starts becoming really insulting. And then he just starts saying, Arjuna, do this, okay? Give your Gandiva, give it to Krishna. He's going to kill Radheya. You're not able to do it. You're just such a useless person. And Arjuna becomes very upset. He immediately starts taking out the sword. And Krishna says, wait a minute, what are you doing? And he says, I have vowed that I'm going to kill anybody who asks me to give up my Gandiva. And now Yudhiṣṭhira is asking me to give up my Gandiva, I'm going to kill him. Okay? See, we may assume Pandavas are always together, they never had fights, a lot of instances like this. So let's keep in mind Narad Muni, who is saying, wait and watch until the Lord is around. And in this situation, Krishna comes in the way. He says, wait a minute, stop, what are you doing? And then Krishna explains, look, it's a sin. Insulting an elderly person is a sin. And you cannot commit this sin. And immediately Arjuna becomes very regretful, right? He immediately puts the sword back and he says, I'm going to kill myself because now I have committed this aparadh. Because Krishna becomes very heavy with him. He says, how can you offend your elder brother? This is a very big sin. It's like killing a person, to insult an elderly person. And Arjuna says, I don't want to live anymore. I want to kill myself now. And then Krishna again says, no, wait, stop. Killing yourself is also a sin. So then, Arjuna comes like, what do I do now? I've made a vow that I will kill anybody who asks me to give up my Gandiva. And then I committed a sin and I want to kill myself, and you're saying even that is a sin. What am I supposed to do now? And then Krishna explains, look, any virtue, anything, truth should always be kept. And Krishna says, it's very difficult to ascertain what is the truth. It's a very important statement in Mahabharata. We often think, what I know is the truth. No, what I understand from Prabhupada's teachings is the truth. What you understand is mediocre, right? So we tend to think, but Krishna is like, no, there is... is a very subtle thing. It's not easy to understand. So in this circumstance, what happens is basically Arjuna and Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj get into that fight, and Krishna becomes the saving grace, and Yudhiṣṭhira is very upset with Arjuna, but at the same time Krishna consoles them and they make peace. This is one of the many, many hundreds of instances Krishna saved the Pāṇḍavas. So it's not only saving later when Arjuna actually gets on the chariot and Karna's arrow is coming at him and there is a sarpastra there, and that sarpa is none other than the son of Takshak who Arjuna had tried to kill in the forest fire. So to take revenge, he sat on the arrow of Arjuna and he was coming right at the head of Arjuna. And what did Krishna do? He pressed his feet on the chariot and it went 4 inches down, and Arjuna narrowly escaped the sarpastra. Right? This is another form where Krishna protected the Pāṇḍavas. He protected them from the lakh house being burned down. He protected Arjuna from being killed in a devious way. He protected the fights among Yudhiṣṭhira and Arjuna. There is another instance where Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, a little later when Dushasana is killed, in one day Bhima killed 20 Kauravas. Like just with arrows, everybody killed. And then Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj is planning now how to get Duryodhana killed. So many attempts to try to appease Duryodhana. Dronacharya told him, at least now you surrender, try to be peaceful now. You've lost everybody. Karna is gone. Everybody, all your brothers are gone. Relax now. No, Duryodhana was like, me, mine, my plans, right? Sometimes when we hold on to my plan, and Krishna is saying, let go, it's not my plan for you. Krishna consciousness is not black and white. It's very personalized. Krishna's lessons for us is very personalized. So what happens in this situation is, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj challenges Duryodhana and he says, look, now we are the 5 Pandavas and you decide, you can pick any of us to fight. No? You fight us, and if you kill any of one of the brothers, you have the kingdom. Go, have it, no problem. But if we kill you, then we're going to take care of the entire world. And Krishna actually later, so basically Duryodhana says, I'm not going to fight cowards and weak people like you, nor Arjuna. I want to fight Bhima. Then he picks up the mace and he says, I'm going to fight Bhima. That's my enemy, right? And Krishna actually corrects Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj. He actually tells him, you should not have said that. You made a big mistake. It's not that Krishna was always agreeable to whatever the Pandavas did. He was always correcting them. He said, you know what kind of a mistake you were about to make? It was impossible for you or Arjuna or Nakula or Sahadeva to even harm Duryodhana. How could you even think? How could you even offer that? So sometimes impulsively we may make promises or say something, right? If like Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj said, even if you kill one of us, you can have. It's like, Krishna is like, what did you just say? So sometimes Krishna does that with our lives too. It's like, what did you just do? Why did you do that? Why didn't you think? So, so he corrects him and he says it was impossible. So only Bhima was any remote possibility was for Bhima to actually fight him. And he said, Krishna said, he would have killed all 4 of you like this. There's no one equal in strength to Bhima. And that Bhima, right, the Bhima who didn't want to like put his head down when Ashwatthama's astra was coming at him, and that Bhima who killed all the Kauravas, he was so subservient to Krishna. So that again, he wanted to do what Krishna wanted. In Madhvacharya actually goes on to explain about the controversy, right? There's a controversy about how could Bhima hit on the thigh of Duryodhana. It's actually against the law of Gada Yuddha, right? Why did he do that, right? And it's actually explained that he actually hit him above the navel, but he hurt both his thighs. One thigh because he showed the thigh to Draupadi. He showed in the dice game event, and another thigh because later on when Pandavas were leaving the Hastinapur, Duryodhana was standing there and mocking at them. So then Bhima took another vow, I'll break both your thighs. So he made both the vow, and he did it. And Krishna actually supported, and it's called apat dharma. At certain circumstances, there's emergency dharma. So in Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya, Madhvacharya actually goes into the Gupta, the ways of what was the purpose between Krishna and Bhima, and what was the strategy. Right? There's a lot of intricacies in how that dharma was performed. And it was not performed in an impulsive way. It was performed in accordance to Krishna's will and desire. Okay, so that was the second point. Let me see if I left anything. Oh yeah, the Vipada tat santushasya tatra tatra jagadguru. This verse that Kunti Devi actually is speaking of, again, for normal human beings, it's very difficult to ask for difficulties. At the same time, difficulties are the way human beings get purified, and the way devotees can actually take shelter of Krishna. There's a very beautiful prayer. It goes like this. This is one of the 12 steps. You know, people who work on different addictions, they have a prayer to hand over their life and will in the care of God. And there's something they call the 3rd step prayer. It's really beautiful. It goes something like this. Dear Krishna, I say Krishna, they say God, of course. Dear Krishna, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Remove my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy way, thy love and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. And it's like an old English, right? Instead of saying you is thy, and instead of saying your will is thou will. So, relieve me of the bondage of self. So, no matter it's Bhima, no matter if it's Arjuna, no matter we are temple presidents, no matter we are GBCs, no matter we are speakers, we are writers, the point is, let me be freed from that false ego. Let me be an instrument in your hands, Krishna. And let the difficulties that come, let them be removed so that when I'm going to face the difficulties, let it prove your love, your way of life, and your mercy. See, it's not about me. It's not about me feeling comfortable. It's about me showing to others your mercy. Let me be a mirror to show how your love and your absorption is what helped me to overcome my difficulties. So this kind of meditation is what reflects also, like I was singing Kunti Devi's prayer. The difficulties are something we should be thankful for. Without that, it's very difficult to become sincere devotees. It's very easy to be on a platform of, I had perfect parents, I had a perfect marriage life, everything went well, I was able to tolerate, the other person was able to tolerate. And then when we look at somebody struggling and suffering with their own mind, with their relationships, we speak from a platform of our experience of not having had many enemies, so to speak. And then we tell them, what's your difficulty? Why you find it difficult to go to Mangalarti? I have been going to Mangalarti for 20 years without fail. I have been chanting, I didn't have any difficulty. Why you should be having? You are in Maya. Yeah. So, no, these are the difficulties which make us humble, which make us go to Krishna and say, Krishna, I thought I was a good devotee, but I realized that I have a lot of work to do. No, I realized the point is not what I wear, what I do. The point is to align to your will. It's not easy for a warrior like Arjuna to have that narrow escape because Krishna pressed a foot on the chariot. It's not some feather in the cap that you can wear to say that. And it's not once. Krishna did it several times with Arjuna. So it's a humbling process. And that is what it is. And so we run to Krishna and say, Krishna, I have this anartha. I have this pride. I have this envy. And this is what I'm able to offer to you today. Right? And then this, the third point about the sura and the asura. Srishti samhara leela vilasattatam pushtashat gunya sadvigraho lasinam dushta nishesha samhara karmodyatam hrishta pushtati shishta praja samshrayam prinayamo vasudevam devata mandala kanda mandalam prinayamo Vasudevam. Krishna, I am yours. Krishna, I offer myself to you. Krishna, I love you. Krishna, I am sorry. The whole relation, whether it's Srishti, the creation of the universe, the Sarga, the Visarga, the Sthanam, the Poshanam, the Uttaya, all the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam, that the Lord maintains the universe. He takes care of all living entities, including the Asuras and the Devatas. He also is the cause and the controller of our anarthas. We don't have to say, oh my God, this anartha is something which is, making me bad. No, that anartha is what is going to make me bow my head down and run to Krishna and say, Krishna, I have no other shelter but you. This thing is killing me. Whatever that thing is, right? We all have our own thing. We all have our own Duryodhan. So the eightfold actions of this world, from all that, Krishna is willing to accept us, especially if we are willing to align to His will. And He has infinite measure, because He is the Supreme Lord. And the power, the strength, the reputation, the knowledge. So His body is made of infinite auspicious qualities. He dushta nishesha samharakar modyatam. We've been studying in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam how, even in yesterday's verse, how He manifests to kill the demons, how He protects from killing those demons. And it's up to us. Will we offer our weaknesses to Krishna? Or am I going to think, I will kill everybody by myself, by my strength, by my will? I cannot have a great spiritual life, good relationships, a good life by myself. I cannot. It's only and only the mercy of the Lord. I cannot think, I'll fight my weaknesses, I'll fight my bad habits. There was this person, I heard this, it was really good. He said, oh, quitting smoking is very easy. I have done it 100 times. Right? So it's like saying, I have a bad habit. I can quit, no problem. I have quit overeating, or let's say, what is our problem? Yeah, overeating is a good one. I quit unhealthy food several times, It's like, you do it. We don't try several times. But the only way to be restored to sanity, whether it's the smoking, which is not devotee problem usually, we usually have subtle addictions. We have addictions to people, we have addictions to relationships, we may have addictions to food, we may have addiction to something else. There are different levels and layers, right? Some of them are very subtle and very difficult to point out. So, Tanu ninnadu, jivana ninnadu. Jivanadali bahu sukha dukkha ninnadaya. Whether it's happiness or distress, whether it's bodily difficulties or external difficulties, Krishna, I'm offering it to you. I cannot control it. You are the controller. And which was the verse? Yeah, oh yeah, our Vaishnava, the song, Guru Pranam song. Gurudev Shakti Bhutihina Amiyati Dina Koramore Atmasata. I am bereft of strength. I am bereft of intelligence. I have nothing of my own. I don't have weapons to fight my weaknesses, my bad habits or whatever. It's by the mercy of Guru, it's by the mercy of Krishna, it's by the mercy of Gauranga, it's by the mercy of Nitai. And that is our real rope and shelter. And we can learn that from Bhima, from Yudhiṣṭhira, from Arjuna. It's not the Gandiva, it's not his Kaumodaki mace, it's not that which actually gave them victory over their enemies, it was the mercy of the Lord. So it's not going to be my knowledge of the Shastras, it's not what is going to save me at the time of death, it's my vulnerability and my attachment. It's my ability to surrender to Krishna no matter what the circumstances are. It's none of the external things that's going to save me. Yeah, so where are we investing? So the difference is a devotee, when difficulties are present, external difficulties, mind difficulties, bad habits difficulties, anartha difficulties, a devotee approaches the Lord, connects with the Lord. It is said that one of our Vaishnava saints says, Kamadali ni tande, krodadali ni tande, tamasa duryoniyali ni tande. The understanding to go to Krishna, to go to Nrsimhadev and say, Krishna, I have these lusty desires, but you are my father. I have these anger issues, but you are my father. Krishna doesn't discard us because of our lust or anger or envy. He's still our father. So we shouldn't discard ourselves. We shouldn't block ourselves from devotees and others in Krishna. We should actually accept our difficulties as a way to connect with Krishna. And the asuras, what the asuras do, when the devatas have problems, they go to Krishna, right? Krishna, please rescue us, these demons are bothering us, please, relieve us. They go to Krishna. What demons do? My strength, my will. I will kill, I will do austerities. Hiranyakashipu did so many austerities, right? He was very, very strict follower of the Vedas. Very, very strict. Duryodhana also, he knew a lot. He was powerful, very diplomatic. He was actually a very good administrator. It is said that he was very good administrator. But if we don't have that desire to want to please Krishna, samsiddhir haritoshanam, everything is shrama eva hi kevalam, everything is such a waste of time. So, where are we investing our energy? In our higher self, going to Krishna, or the lower self, which makes us depend on my kingdom, my empire, my family, my wealth, whatever, me. So that's the difference between Sura and Asura. Sura tendency in us goes to Krishna. Asura tendency in us thinks, I am the cause, I should be doing better bhakti. The Sura tendency says, Krishna has allowed me to do this much for today. Gratitude. Right? Okay, so those are some points, and it's almost 9 o'clock. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any comments or questions, yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji, for your nice class, Mataji. Mataji, 2 points I want to ask. One is that Tatparya Nirnaya, the commentary on Mahabharata by Madhavacharya, it is not very much talked about. You mention it. Thank you so much, Mataji, for that. And is the book available in ISKCON bookshops?
It's available online. You can search Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya.
By Madhavacharya.
Yeah.
And who is the author? You remember, Mataji?
It's not author, it's Madhvacharya, but there is a translation. You can find Sanskrit, then you can find, if you know Sanskrit, you'll be able to understand the words, but there's some translation by different people actually. It's very nice to have the Acharya's perspective.
Yes, yes, Mataji. And my second query is that you told that to know Krishna's plan. So how we can know what is the plan for me? Through my guru, my Siksha guru and my...
Avekṣadhvam. That's the answer. Avekṣadhvam.
Wait and watch.
Wait and watch. But we should align to guru and sadhus and shastra. That's the way. But avekṣadhvam. Patience. We can't say, Kayya toro, karunigalara sane kayya toro, Krishna, please show me your hand, let me see. We can't hurry. Right? So we should ask Krishna humbly. Kayya toro, karunigalara sane kayya toro, kayyali tumba benneya kolluva kayya toro. We glorify Krishna. Oh my dear Krishna, your hands are always filled with butter. So those hands which have always a purpose, please show me your hand in my life. You know, we go to Krishna with humility, with sweetness, with gratitude. And avekṣadhvam, we wait and we watch. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.